Welcome, Deepti, after a long time, and so nice to see you. And
Namaste, Minaji.
also, yes, happy Diwali to you and family.
Thank you so much, Minaji. Wish you a very, very happy, prosperous, and healthy Diwali. And I wish all your viewers a very, very happy Diwali as well. Let the light of truth and dharma shine so bright this Diwali that everything stands exposed.
Yes, exactly. And already
And the
the fireworks
darkness,
in Maharashtra is
yes,
happening.
and the
Yeah,
darkness, whatever darkness in the form of evil, it vanishes.
yeah, yeah. Deepti, what is happening at your end? Can you tell our viewers something about what's happening at your end?
Well, Minaji, I haven't yet received a call from the CBI,
Yeah,
though I am getting calls informally
yeah,
asking me not to share the drives. And also, there are continuous attacks on the drives because, as I have told before, there are some 6 to 7 other copies of the drives out there.
yeah,
And 4 of them have the main link as well, because
yes,
in these drives the content is not there, the links are there from where you have to download the slides.
yeah,
Okay, so the continuous attacks are happening, and each
yeah,
slide has a different link. You have to, guess the pattern, decode the encryption, and there's a lot of work that has to be done.
yeah,
And at the when we are trying to access the files, obviously the other people with the links come to know about it.
yeah, yeah,
So that's when since they have the main link as well, though the
yeah,
others who have the parent link, they can only access, but they cannot do any sort of, manipulation or something.
yeah,
But 4 of 4, including me, like 3 of Sushant's team members have the main link.
yeah,
Okay, my team has managed to crack the main link. That's how I am sharing the drives. But three
yeah.
of Sushant's team members, whose names I have taken on one of your shows, they have the main link. And
They are the ones who are
unless and
trying to stop you.
until no, unless and until they have given away those leaks or access, no one could have been able to, create such disturbances actually. And last time also there was one slide which was manipulated. I
Yeah,
have shared it on Twitter.
yeah,
Whenever I come to that in your session, I will not be reading that in this session, maybe
yeah,
next or next to that. When I read about it, I will tell you how it was, what was manipulated, and what exactly it was.
yeah,
I didn't come to know. I didn't notice it because there are too many things going on. So I
yeah.
didn't notice this. One of the users on the Twitter, she pointed out that there is no continuation between slide 12 and 13, or 13 or 14.
Okay.
So that's when I said, okay, I need to check. My team does the checking as well before we share anything. When we
Mm.
download, we do check for any sort of manipulation or edits that have happened recently. There are some ways to check that, but last time they used a new software to add a new slide to the
Yeah,
uh, drive. That was one my system crashed,
yeah.
and I only came on audio on your show.
Yes, yes.
There was a time. Okay, after that only I took their names, and
Yeah.
now again this time also they changed one slide without our
Mm.
notice, and I actually shared it on Twitter. Later I have informed
Mm.
with the I have shared the correct drive as well, and informed that the previous one was edited. So when I come to that drive on your show, that particular slide on the show, I will read both the slides, the one
Yeah.
which was manipulated
Mm.
and inserted, and the one
Yeah.
which was the original one.
Yes,
Okay, and
yes.
I will leave it upon the audience upon the public and you, Minaji, to
Yeah, yeah.
analyze who
Mm.
would have wanted that particular information to be edited
To
or
be
omitted.
edited. Mm.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Let's
So
start.
we will start, Minaji.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, sure. Okay. All right. Now, getting back to the Jagan Reddy Sharmila Reddy split, the political pundits feel strongly that this was a publicity gimmick that was played because after this, the brother and sister were not as open as they used to be, even to their close circles, and always were pointing out fingers at each other's flaws. But neither of them stressed on any decision that was to be taken. The interesting angle that came up over here was one very close source to the Reddy family was found blabbering that we all know what happened to Reddy Garu and how he wanted to see this family united always. And these two have always had their share of differences. And if we go back on them, then Jagan is more of the skillful dictator kind of administrator. If you are good to him, he will treat you like a king. And Sharmila is like the leader of a pack of wolves. Her authority is to be respected. She is the boss, and if someone comes in between this, then there is problem and trouble for the person who comes in her path. Andhra, no doubt, has a good chief minister, and there is no second thought that Jagan has been very, very instrumental in getting a lot of positives into the state and has made the state progress since the time he has been in power. But this man, too, deep inside, has one weakness, and his weakness is land and his religion. There are so many people who testify to the fact that he always has made sure that he was always had that soft corner for the Christians. And he has promoted Christianity everywhere and is like that hungry pygmy shrew, a small shrew found in North America, which is always hungry when it comes to lands. And when it comes to lands, this man, Jagan, tends to loosen up and give in. Now, there are a lot of stories around this, but there are no strong evidences on the same. And many say that Jagan has played a lot of mind games when land was in the question. And he is having various properties in various places, which he has taken on the names of various people, so that there is no much problems that might come knocking on his doors. There are instances that you can see or hear in Andhra, but not many will open their mouth on these topics. Some locals say that one reason for this might be the fact that he has been doing some good activities that have been the cover that helps him cover up on these activities. And when compared to the previous chief ministers who took charge of the state, this man is much, much, much better. And he has indefinite support from his community too. So he has a fortress around him which is very difficult to be broken. And he has very good connections in some tax havens like Cayman Islands and the Isle of Man, which has made him a respected figure amongst the businessman community too. Many believe that it is Jagan who had arranged local support for Vijay Mallya in London. However, many feel this is just an allegation on Jagan by Chandrababu Naidu. But there are some people who have slowly started having differences with the family, who say time will tell how well Jagan is connected to the likes of Mallya, and that's when public will actually believe us. I am actually confused what I should be saying here, because the way the people speak about it, there are some connections that could be made. And the TDP leaders, on the other hand, say that N. Chandrababu Naidu too is very closely connected to Vijay Mallya. And the context here is some 4,200 crores of Hawala money that was supposed to reach Andhra state during the tenures of various chief ministers, including Y.S. Rajshekhar Reddy. Nothing much can be told here, but it is also believed that every political party in Andhra, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, and Kerala have their shares here. And this is one instance where there is a connection between Vijay Mallya and Dhirubhai Ambani too. I will get back to that subject later when I lay my hands on it, or when I will be explaining that connected incident. But all these need to be looked into closely, and we have to make sure that we follow all the minute details around these issues to come to a conclusion on this chapter. To conclude this chapter, I would like to sum up what I found out through my own sources and some investigations that I did around this. The 2019 general elections was one of the main reasons that led to the split between the brother and the sister. And this election has also made a lot of changes to a lot other parties in Andhra. Some leaders from inside the YSRCP and the TDP were in a state of tug of war, and it took the senior leaders of the party to put these issues to rest. Chiranjeevi, who had to merge his party with Congress for the sole reason that Jagan's increasing popularity in the area meant that it was curtains on his political dreams, thought Many say this is just a rumor. Some have strong reasons to believe this. Too is believed to have played his part in creating this unrest. The one thing that was pricking everyone was the first task Jagan took on hands. There are some other reports around here that Sharmila was approached with suitcases to make sure that her brother does not take a wrong step. But then even she couldn't stop Jagan, adding more to the rift. There were times when Sharmila was found countering Jagan that if he doesn't mend his ways, then she will form her own political party. And as I had explained earlier, keeping the sentiments of her people who trust her and the fact that they should not be washing their linen in public, she would rather focus on her party to gain a stronghold in Hyderabad. The name she chose was YSR Telangana Party and focus on the Telangana state instead. There are so many reports around this time how Jagan tried to reopen some cases which could make him the unopposed boss of Andhra, and how he made sure that he reached those places and knocked on the doors of people like N. Balakrishna, and also had some questions raised on the death of N. Hari Krishna too. But then the political pundits asked him to shut up on this issue, which would create an unnecessary chaos, which could backfire big time on Jagan. There are so many angles that are yet to be explored, and I will have to make sure that I get this done because some of these incidents, though which do not look big to the eye, I feel have some deep secrets hidden in them. And this journey has taught me one thing, that if the media is not giving much of an attention to some suspicious issue, then that issue is a hot cake issue and has many angles attached to it. Go back and analyze for yourself how true this statement could be. For me, I find all the sense in what I am speaking. And moreover, there are various factors for me to derive at this conclusion because there are some angles that connect instantly and some reasons given which look so lame and yet are sold in the media, and we people fall for them too. Call it irony or something else, but there is a time for everything, and the time now is up according to me. And we have to make sure that we all get it in us and start facing these people rather than running away. Most of the people, yes, I believe in one stage of your life, were heroes to you. But my simple question to you is, if the person who is a hero to you is involved in wrong activities and does some things which makes a lot of people take the wrong path in the zest of following them, would he still be your hero? If he is, then God save you. If not, then what I would like to request here is team up and start speaking about it. Start making people aware of what the reality is. No one believes you. That does not matter. But if you keep it out on public domain, what you have experienced, then there is every possibility that someone somewhere else has faced a similar issue and might voice out seeing you voice out. And you know what? And you know what is the biggest proof for the common man? Two people who do not know each other, never have seen each other, or interacted with each other in person, join hands for a cause, because the cause has become a bridge for them, where they see that their relationship to pain is being felt elsewhere in equal capacity. And when this happens, every eye that is reading these messages, posts, pictures, or narrations that are shared will instantly connect because they feel that it's the reality, what they have gone through. And when the reality comes into the picture and things are projected out, keep it as real as possible. The things do spread like wildfire. I do agree. The start might be slow, but once the issue picks up, then trust me, guys, it would be like dropping a small piece of burning charcoal on dry leaves. The fire will spread everywhere. There are so many people out there who have gone through these issues and have their side of the story, which no one wants to listen to. But if all these stories come together, then what will happen is that people will find mutual support. And this mutual support is more than enough for the revolution to happen. With this revolution that shapes up once everything is out in the public, we can put pressure and ensure that our questions are answered and we have logical solutions to our logical demands. And this will definitely happen. However, for some reason or the other, if this does not happen, then we have a lot of ways in which we can have a peaceful rebellion and get the government to listen to us and get our issues resolved. For everything, there is a solution, but our actions determine how soon we can lay our hands on the solutions we aspire. People, it's time we need to step up the pedestal and start our counterattack. Now let's take a break from Andhra and a little more down south to Tamil Nadu, another state which has its own stories to tell, and the standout of them being the one of Jayalalitha, the then Chief Minister of the state. What was her journey and what were the reasons that she faced all that she did, and the factors around what would be the reasons for her death, and who are the people who could be benefited because of this death. The queen of controversies with a huge list of cases against her, and the way she fought back, though many believe most of them were true, but she had this rare ability to walk out of controversies, made her what she is. Let me first list the cases that were filed against her, and then let's talk about this female in detail. The cases registered on Jayalalitha are as follows. 1996 Color TV case. Here, there was an allegation that the color TVs were purchased at inflated prices, which were later reimbursed to the politicians, and Jayalalitha was booked for this later, released because there was no evidences. Now, if the stories around this are to be believed, then Jayalalitha bought everyone who raised an allegation on her. And 1995 Sudhakaran's wedding. Before I start about this, let me make it one point here that the wedding happened in 1995, but the allegations that came on her came some time later. And this marriage also became one of the reasons for Jayalalitha to lose all her seats in the 1996 assembly elections and got the Guinness Book of World Record for Jayalalitha, and also a jail sentence for 4 years in 2014. This is a huge story all in itself, and I shall come back to it because this story forms a major part in another subject, and I feel it's better off if I explain this story there than here. This wedding case is one of the main backbones of the disappropriation of assets case. This case, yet again, has the involvement of Dr. Subramaniam Swamy in it. So, this wedding chapter and the connections around it, I shall come back to it in more detail once I am done speaking about Jayalalitha. Because here there is one main connection which many believe could be the main reason that she was put to rest. And many top names made it to the charts when this case was taken out. And this, when I'm going to speak on it, I'm sure a lot of wolves will suddenly wake up out of nowhere and start howling loudly. This case, I would say, has deep connections, and we will also expose most of the political saints who claim to have had a clean image. And if someone asks for evidences, everything is there crystal clear in the court. And there are public statements, unopposed, on the same too. One thing which everyone needs to analyze, understand, and make sure of here is that if there is a news which has come out and has not made wildfire, if a news has come out and despite making wildfire, there is no response from the person who the news is against, then in 90% cases, the news is true. And in some special cases, because some people believe to ignore, then we need to study the movements. These people do once the news is out. If the person is guilty, then he will take an indirect shot on the person who is against him in the media. But if someone is genuine, he will go into total silence. There are some other cases which say some other stories. But then the point here I'm trying to make is media has lost its charm when truthful reportings come into the picture. 1998 Tansi land deal case. This case dates back to 1992 when a land from the state small industry company by Jaya Publications. This company was believed to be a company owned by Jayalalitha and Sasikala. The case was registered as the case of cheating against the government, and both were booked along with three others. This case caused problems for Jayalalitha, and she was disqualified from holding office as the CM of Tamil Nadu in 2001. The charges were later dropped on her. Now, the funny incident here is that the person who swore in as chief minister during this period is believed to have involvement with sand mafia, and that is another chapter here which is connected to some people, and these connections will shock you because the fact remains that once again we will see that the connections are the same yet again. 1999 attempted murder case. Some of these were allegations and some had connections to a lot around some of the controversies that Jayalalitha had found herself in. But the bottom line that there was a case registered on her, and her CA went on to claim that he was assaulted by Jayalalitha and her associates, and he was also made to sign a promissory note of rupees 50 lakhs. There are various different angles to this incident, and I shall make a note of everything once I am done with this chapter, and in the end sum it all up to ensure that everything happens the way it should, because some of these infos are confusing, and if not put out in the right way, there is every possibility of the message and the cause to go for a toss. Jayalalitha had her share of crimes, but there is no denial to the fact that if Tamil Nadu today is recognized as an impactful state and has taken some great initiatives which even the center acknowledged, then the one person I would say is responsible for this is Jayalalitha. Jayalalitha. There is no doubt about it because the locals too feel the same. 2000 Pleasant Stay Hotel case. This case came into the picture because of various reasons, but the prime one being that it was a huge risk factor to the ecology and also the construction of a 7-storied building in such an area where the soil was considered to be damp and wet, as told by the locals. The case saw another prison sentence knock on Jayalalitha's door. But then what followed was another shameful incident. When her party members were protesting against this decision, three girls were burnt alive in Dharmapuri. Jayalalitha was a woman of strong will and always had compassion for her people. She has done a lot of constructive and developmental work for the people of Tamil Nadu. And many believe that Amma, as she was fondly called by the citizens of Tamil Nadu, is just the face. Everything is done by V. Sasikala and the others who are associated with her. And there are some people in her cabinet who are well connected to the mafia as well. There are a lot of stories around here, but let's go one by one. And then you will understand why I found that this is also a very important angle. And these incidents that have happened have impacted the overall growth of our nation as well. V.K. Sasikala. This name is a very common name in Tamil Nadu, and her party calls her Chinamma. Chachi, I think, is the best word for this in Hindi. What makes me take this name here is for two reasons. One, she was very much responsible for the death of Jayalalitha. Two, she was very close to Vijay Mallya. Now both have solid evidences in the media, and people inside the party know well about both these angles. The closeness to Vijay Mallya is quite evident on the tweet Vijay Mallya wrote addressing V.K. Sasikala on the demise of Jayalalitha. The reason Vijay Mallya was able to come out from a lot of controversies which were caused because of his factory in Chennai and also Kingfisher topping the chart for beer sales in Tamil Nadu and a lot of money which was due to excise and tax departments, it's believed that Sasikala was very much instrumental in helping Vijay Mallya out of it. And in one of the meetings that Vijay Mallya had with Jayalalitha, it was Vijay Mallya who gave out some strategies like to focus on the 2G angle involving the DMK leaders and cash as well for the elections. Not just this, there are some more to follow, but the Vijay Mallya angle ends here with this explanation that I had to make. Minaji, I will take a break of 1 minute, if I may.
Yes, please.
Thank you.
I'll just take some comments till she joins us. Uh, Runa, good morning. Meena and Deepti, I can't wait to hear two strong ladies. Sushant's diary revelations has so much to do with what's going around. My deep prayers for Sushant's soul. Absolutely. Vicky, good morning. Meena and Deepti, a wonderful day. Looking forward to another marvelous session. Chitra, happy Diwali to you as well, Chitra, with crackers and sweets, as many crackers as you can. Yeah. Chitra also says, wishing you and family a very happy Diwali. May you be blessed with lots of happiness and strength. This is to you as well, Chitra. So kind of you. Lenova, ma'am, we are all seeing how Samirji's full family is being mentally harassed and tortured. So just imagine what SSR must have gone through. Absolutely. Thank you, Pinky, for joining us. Really delighted to have you. Chitra says, hats off to Deepti. We realize it's a lot of hard work for your team. Hopefully, we'll get justice soon. Your perseverance is amazing. Shilpa says, yes, AP most of the time, most of them have converted, Andhra Pradesh. Sad that they curse the Hindu gods. Our biggest curse, Shilpa, is our politicians. Prema, happy Diwali to Meena ma'am and Deepti. God bless you. Wish you the same, Prema. Let me just take a few comments here. Being a seashore, probably lots of rain too in Chennai. Chitra, Jayalalitha and Shashikala arrested Kanchi Swamiji on Deepavali. Just heard the sentiments. See, this was her curse. You remember what happened to Arnab was also very similar. Arnab spoke against the Shabrimala, tradition, and he hurt some sages. So immediately you get what you shouldn't do such things. You should be very careful, in such matters. Lakshmi, this kid was genius. Was he alive when these happened? He's so far-sighted. Hope he gets justice soon. Look at karma, how things turned out after his death. Bollywood is in a toss. Results of Himachal Pradesh are a stark warning for BJP. Pull up your socks and put your efforts and stop tailing Modi ji for everything. Absolutely. Didn't Modi invite Pope to? Yes, he did. Yeah, let me just add. Yeah, back. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, Minaji. Yeah, so where was I? Okay.
Yeah.
So we were talking about Jayalalitha and Vijay Mallya's connection. No, Sasikala and Vijay Mallya's connection, right? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. There's. I just want to add one thing here, Minaji. There's one more connection between Shah Rukh Khan, the man of the moment, Shah Rukh Khan, and Vijay Mallya, which will come in later slides. I mean, not this show, but next show.
Okay.
All right. So I will continue reading.
Yeah.
You can look up for yourself and find the tweets that were made by Vijay Mallya on the death of Jayalalitha, and for the other connections to a small visit to the Chennai city will answer a lot of connection. And if someone wants to understand how was the bridge laid, then do not forget that Jayalalitha had roots in Karnataka because she was born in Mysore. Now starts another important chapter, which has three states in concern, 3 top-level ministers, and also the other businessmen who are attached to these matters. Shekhar Reddy, I am not sure if many of you have heard this name, because but this one name has connections to 3 different states and is also believed to have given sleepless nights to a lot of powerful people when he was arrested. The three different states and the connections are as follows: Gali Janardhan Reddy, connections to both Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka; Ottakara Tevar Pannaraselvam, the bridge for a lot of his activities. Shekhar Reddy, when he was arrested, a lot of notes of 2000 denomination were found on him. And these notes came from Anantapuram. Now, if you are confused why I am taking this point of Anantapuram, is because we all know that every note has a serial number. And if the serial numbers are tallied, we can exactly know where do these notes belong. There is the GJR angle to this story as well, which I will start once I am done explaining about this person. GJR means Gali Janardhan Reddy. Minaji. Yeah.
Yes. Sorry, because I mute myself when you talk. Yes.
No. So GJR, in case people are confused, GJR is he referred to, that is Gali Janardhan Reddy.
Yes.
Okay. I will continue today.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to know who is Shekhar Reddy, Shekhar Reddy was a small-time contractor from Nellore district of Andhra Pradesh and was not a person who could make it big and make so much money in so little time. But the one interesting angle that comes into the picture here is the Tirupati temple. Now, if you want to know who is Shekhar Reddy was a small-time Shekhar Reddy got on board as one of the board members of TTD. And then from there, his rise to power started. He got connected to a lot of leaders in Tamil Nadu. And in his confession, he said that he has paid around rupees 400 crores to the leaders in Tamil Nadu because there were evidences in his statements, his connections to P. Rama Mohan Rao were established, and Mr. Rao was removed from his post when the raids conducted by the IT department on him showed that all that Shekhar Reddy had said was true. The connection that was established here is that Shekhar Reddy was very close to Vikram Rao, the son of Rama Mohan Rao, and Rama Mohan Rao is believed to have great relations with N. Srinivasan of the India Cements. The web of connections these people have are so confusing that if someone manages to get just one point, then the person would be trapped in it like he is trapped in a Bermuda Triangle. This person who knows it in and out is the only person who can stand and fight against these people coming this deep and getting so much information. People around me say that I only have 35% information and I have a lot more work to do. Anyways, when we see these connections yet again, the only thing my thoughts take me back to is the deceit that is done on us for years by the same set of people. And we were knowingly unaware. These connections never would have made it to our intellect till we got to experience it ourselves, like I am listening to the stories and the various angles around it. To put it in simple words, reading out a joke on WhatsApp and seeing someone act a joke, there is a lot of difference, right? In the same way, till now, we were only reading the news, so we couldn't connect. Now I am listening to people narrate these stories, so I am able to connect to the issues better. This man Shekhar made it big because he hit the right connections at the right time and had given out a long list of ministers and bureaucrats who were helping him out. A lot of inquiries did happen, but nothing much came out. And the public statements followed by the statements given during the course of the investigations was nothing different to what keeps happening since ages. The only plus here is that this time we will make sure that the common man would get access to all these informations. And then let's see how these people can escape and what will they do when the water level has gone much above the head. The Gali Janardhan Reddy angle is another interesting angle here for various reasons. But the main reasons he makes it to this list is because the sudden death of Y.S. Rajshekhar Reddy collapsed GJR, and this in itself is an unanswered question. Till date, as the accusations that were on Janardhan Reddy when he was in Bellary, Karnataka, and his subsequent arrest found him more a fugitive in Anantapuram rather than his links in Bellary. And he had strong links in the BJP party in Karnataka. And the other angle here that we all need to focus on is the 2000 notes that were seized for Shekhar Reddy, finding its roots back to Anantapuram. Do you realize the connections now? This is the angle which we all have to work on and make sure we get to the roots of the matter and keep everything out in the public domain. Now, yet again, let me make one point clear here that I have nothing against anyone. But then something comes to me and I am on a mission here to make people aware what is happening. It becomes my duty by default that I make a mention of that I make a mention to, and then leave it up to you to decide what you should be doing around it. I wouldn't blame the PM for the step, demonetization, which according to me was a one shot full stop to the fake currency that was running around in the country. But the two questions haunt my mind, and I'm not sure how do I find answers for these two questions. Just because there are a lot of things that are in common, and I have raised these questions in the past, the question remains the same even now. If this was a step to curb black money, what was the reason for the 2000 notes to be printed? I will ask this question for sure to the man when I meet him, and then let's see what was the reason behind this. My God, look at how all these things are interlinked and how these people always manage to find a scapegoat. Now, the theory that Jayalalitha was slow poisoned to death, and now the theory that Jayalalitha was slow poisoned to death, and see the connections here, which makes me now believe that Sasikala was indeed the one who, without the knowledge of Jayalalitha, did a lot of things which came on Jayalalitha. Jayalalitha passed away in December 2016, and Shekhar Reddy went behind bars in 2017. And to add to it, shortly afterwards, DC Srinivasan came out with a public statement that it was Sasikala who killed Jayalalitha. And he had to lie about it initially because he was under pressure. And the reason for this pressure, though he didn't open out about it in the media, many feel it is because that Shekhar Reddy was in control of a lot of things, and his diary had a lot of names that would make matters worse in Tamil Nadu. This is how these people trap others into their web, find what their weakness is, play in accordance of that weakness, and then use the weakness and get the job done, or use the money power and get things in their control. I'm not sure by getting this angle if I am doing the right thing, but what my heart says is that when something wrong is happening, we cannot be selective in deciding what has to be told and what has not to be told, because we are no one to decide what is right or what is wrong. If something is partially right, we have to talk about it and make sure we find out what are the reasons things are going wrong. The only sorrow that is deep in my heart is that the people who stood up in the past wish they had made some kind of mention or maintained some kind of document around the work they did. It would be easier for the successors who would want to follow the same path. The only problem that one faces is that there is nothing to look up to or refer when we are in this journey, but the people whom we are against have all this readily available for them, right in front of their eyes. We cannot cry for what we have lost, but we need to ensure we do not repeat these mistakes again. So I will make sure I will document everything. If I am able to finish it, nothing like it. But if I am not, I have made sure that people who would want to stand up and raise their voice against what wrong is happening around us, they would have enough back support to stand for them. And also, this work will eventually make its way to them, depending on what actions are taken. My team is strong enough and has a very strong conscience to break apart. So, there are people who are on this task who might not be famous today and might never be famous ever. But when it's needed, that someone has to stand up for the cause of truth, then these people would be the front runners for the game, for the same. The only point that I want to make people understand here is that it is one bunch of people. a small group of core people who have been doing this for their generations. And we, uh, the thing clear cut in front of us, gather everything possible and make sure maximum people are aware of this first, and then leave it out on any platform you get a chance to. We can uproot them totally, and once we do this, there is no looking back. The only thing we need to ensure here is that whatever we do, it should be a lesson for generations to follow. And we should ensure that the message we want to spread is so loud that anyone mere by the thought of doing wrong would sweat and stop it then and there, even before acting, or will stop the thought right away. Before I continue any further on this topic, I have one request to make. And let me make this request loud and clear, because I too feel that it is necessary that I have my intentions clear. And I need to spell it out to people as well, so that there is no scope for any misunderstandings to cope in and create that rift between us once we decide to start. 1. I have no enmity with anyone. 2. I am not judging people or passing my verdict on anyone. 3. I am not interested in politics, never will be. 4. Something wrong, half wrong, or a little wrong in my eyes is totally wrong. 5. Someone who is wrong is always wrong, no matter who it is. 6. My fight is against the wrong in the society, and there is nothing personal in here. 7. If we all do not stand up now, we will not have this option ever again. 8. I have no intention to spread or propagate any personal agenda of mine. 9. I have no intention of becoming powerful or increase my fan following. 10. I will happily step down and continue to be a common citizen once my work gets results. 11. My only intention and interest is to do good to the society and help the underprivileged get their dues. 12. This human life comes after a lot of lives, and this is your opportunity to prove yourself to your Creator, as per our scriptures. And it's also said that opportunities never come over and over again. For me, this is my opportunity to do good, and I will make the best use of it. 13. I am not here to please or hurt anyone. I am just here to place facts, and I will do it no matter what follows. I am prepared for it, and I know deep inside that this is going to be a tough and challenging job, so I am both physically and mentally prepared. Now, in order to explain some connections, the following should be done. Now, the files for the SEZ and coal related files can be found on the web. This is another checkpoint here. I will explain reasons later for the stand I am going to tell how this is going to open. The one who takes patience to open this here and continues for me has no vested interest. Read the files carefully, and once you are done reading this, then Supreme Court case files you need to study. Two diary numbers: 27976 of 2019, 39030 of 2019. I have a reason for doing it like this, but this step here is very much required to understand a lot of things. There is a saying that even the cleverest of the cleverest thief does one mistake, and that mistake proves very costly to him. Now, what this mistake was and how can we make the connections out of it? Let me go ahead and explain. But before I do that, you might think that in the earlier slide, the documents that I have shared, you can find it out very easily on the web or elsewhere. But the reason to put it out like this is, one, this is so closely connected to what I am trying to explain now. Two, the PDF files was my way of testing intent, and this is the next checkpoint where my team will watch your movements, what your steps will be. This is in case, as I have spoken in the past, if someone else lays his hands on this work and is doing something around bringing facts in front of the society. If your time was wasted here, I'm sorry, but this work should never go into the hands of a devil. The pain and time that we have taken in getting all this together is for the betterment of the society, and I do not want to take chances by letting it go into the wrong hands. because then again, then everything is over. However, I have my safety measures taken and I have ensured that this work can never be destroyed. But this going into the wrong hands has two scenarios that comes into the picture again. One, the game of blackmail that can be played using this. Two, the wrong person having the right idea what is in store for them. This is the only reason we need to be a little careful and hence all these layers of safety and protection. So before we start getting into why, let me give you some interesting scenarios that led me to decide this is what is to be brought out to the notice of the public. The main points that needs to be studied in the course of these revelations is as follows. 1. For the common man, there is a lot of cases pending in the court. 2. For the common man, the court is on vacation. 3. For the common man, the judge retires, a new judge has to be appointed, and the case goes on. 4. For the common man, the judge gets changed. His case can go anywhere. 5. For the common man, there are taxes, rules, and regulations to abide to. See for yourself. How many instances were there that were recorded where all these points that I have written above are quite evident, and how the common man is the only target for all the reasons and excuses, and how, if there is an intent, we do have options to get these issues that are standing in our country to be sorted out faster. To be sorted out faster. And it is not much of a surprise that it's again the same nexus who gets all the exemptions as always. Keeping all the controversies aside, and just to understand this as a case study, to find out what are all the connected angles that form the subject, this is very much required. And let me make one statement loud and clear. I am not against the legal system or I am raising any kind of allegation on the legal systems in the country. But the points that I want to raise here are very much the need of the hour, and we all need to be aware of what is happening and how the parameters and the priorities change if there is someone who has wings attached to him comes into the picture. What I mean by wings here is someone who is influential, has a status in the society, and has the money power to keep them intact. Let's begin with a letter written to the Chief Justice of India, Ranjan Gogoi. And the letter raised a lot of pointers, which was soon rubbished by the Adani group. But what everyone forgot here is that what I said when I began this chapter, even the cleverest of the cleverest crimes leave one trace behind, which can prove costly here. I would say it was not a crime, but a massive cover-up, which was played very carefully. But what everyone forgot was that the ink on the papers does not fade away. And these are the same papers which are shouting out that every word that was spoken or written is true or false. Sometimes we tend to forget the basics. That's when everything starts connecting. When someone wants to learn what is going wrong from a neutral angle. Now, getting back to the letter, first let me quote the letter as it was written, and then we shall discuss around this. And then we shall discuss around this letter as to why this letter makes total sense. And why is it that the points that were mentioned in the letter, I strongly feel were buried down just to ensure that no faces any kind of trouble. The biggest flaw that we had all our lives was everything was in front of us, but we never opened our eyes. There are multiple reasons for this, but the main reasons for this can be summed as follows. 1. We are not aware what our rights are and what are our duties that we need to perform. 2. We have this attitude of taking everything easy till it actually affects us. 3. We run away from our social responsibilities. 4. We tend to believe people who have a following, whose following without even trying to verify facts. There are a lot of other points that can be added here, but the whole point, no matter whatever permutations and combinations you do, would sum up to these points. And if you feel anything else need to be added here that does not fall in this, and you feel could be added, you are free to do it. The extracts key points from the letter are as follows. A team of 4 judges from Supreme Court in a press conference in January 2018 quoted that administration of Supreme Court is not in order and many things which are less than desirable have happened in the last few months. And then the letter went on to quote some judgments which the writer felt would end up being a huge question mark on the justice system in our country. It also went on to point out that how some cases were assigned by the prior Chief Justices of the SCI to benches of their preference, without any rational basis for any of these assignments, which the person who wrote this letter felt it was wrong. The letter went on to point out how situations in the court was going from bad to worse, and there are many cases wherein when there was a political angle or cases having national interest and institutional angles were involved, then the benches assigned were the same and had no rational connection why these benches were assigned. The biggest surprise for the entire legal fraternity came when the Chief Justice of India constituted benches for the summer vacation of 2019, which included himself. Besides him was Justice Mr. Arun Mishra, and he was the senior most amongst the working judges in the SCI. Till date in the history, a senior judge never sat during a vacation. And what made matters even worse was that the sitting judge ruled out certain judgments which resulted in shocking outcomes, whatever be the justification given for this step. One such matter, the sole reason for me to take this up and give it a serious thought, was the bench comprising of Justice Arun Mishra, believed to be very close to Gautam Adani, and Justice M.R. Shah, believed to be very close to both Adani and Ambani, took up civil appeal number 9023 of 2018. This case is between Parsa Kenta Collieries Limited versus Rajasthan Rajya Vidyut Utpadan Nigam Limited. Now, the contention here that amused me is that the former is a part of the Adani group, and the surprising way this case was taken up as there was no order issued for the matter to be ignored. There was no order issued for the matter to be heard by a vacation bench by any regular bench, and the matter was not at all urgent when compared to other matters that were pending from a long, long time. Strangely, the appeal was considered because there was a special leave petition that was filed, SLP clause number 18586 of 2018, in which the leave was granted only on August 24, 2018. The judges' bench comprised of Justice Nariman and Justice Malhotra. If you do some groundwork around this and follow up with these cases, you will see for yourself how the manipulations did happen. I do not want to feed anything to anyone, but if someone really wants to get to the root of the matter, be it anything, then his own personal effort and judgment is very much required. So here what I feel is the best, keeping the general good in mind, is that anyone who wants to know further on these topics should do some work around it themselves. It's not that hard. And there is no much rocket science involved in all these things. There is a lot of information on these in the public domain, and you can go through them. If not, the judgments ruled out by the courts is also available. All you need to do is do a little work around it, and all the information will be out there for us to refer and make our own conclusions on the matter. Not for a second do I doubt that allegations should not be raised, but sometimes it does happen that certain facts end up being allegations just because there is nothing to go along with it, which can be counted as a solid evidence. But then I ask myself, would there be smoke without fire? Now here too, the one thing that we as humans need to understand is that how can we make out which fact turned into an allegation, and what are the grounds for us to conclude that whether the allegation raised was actually true? Sometimes some issues that are raised which die down with time or just fade away leave behind some pointers. And these pointers can stand out as a witness to the fact that there could have been a possibility that some vested interests never let the matter get to the desired result it should have. Nothing much can be done in such cases, but it definitely serves as an eye-opener. But again, that is up to our individual capacities of understanding. The beauty of psychology is that it's always a new subject, Every mind is different. Every thought process is different. Conclusions, understanding, adapting each and every feeling or emotion is different with each mind. Of course, some minds come together on the same bridge, but then the thought process remains unique. This is one of the main reasons that the thought process becomes the target. The learned people always say, what flows in your mind shows in your character, body language. So it's very important for us to have clean thoughts, and we need to have control over the negative and wrong thoughts. Society will be a beautiful place to live in if each one of us makes it a point to understand that we are nothing but the outcome of our thoughts. But what pains the most is that these issues were out there for us to see. This was happening right in front of our eyes. We were played along all this while just because we did not have that sense of judgment to conclude on what exactly was happening. Because the way all this happened, I feel we were blinded with the fake masks these people wore and the shine those masks had. But it is never too late. It's part time now that some actions are taken and some results are sought. We got to take this up as this is the only choice left. If we have options, then we can get diverted to make or break anything. The first thing that comes into the picture here is how we go about with the issue on hands. Is this as important to us as our breathing is, or we can let go of it and still breathe? We all need to understand this and get it deep into our system. If we do this, then there is no looking back. Results will come. But yes, it might stretch for some time, but it's worth it because the time taken by these people to grow into the position they are in today, when taken into consideration, it's nothing but obvious that it will take some time for us to break through and dig this out from the roots. Indeed, it's challenging, but it's worth it because in the end, when we reach the bottom, we will have the last laugh. It's not a huge price to pay because nothing comes to us without an effort. Now, in the next few set of slides, let's dig a little deeper into these names so that we understand the entire thing. And also, here I feel we will get to know a lot of things that we have been missing all this while. Some I am not sure what conclusions can we make, but the fact that remains for me is I am going to make note of everything that I am going to encounter when I am on this journey. But then it's up to decide how and what has to be done next. The only reason all this is happening today is because, number one, we never heard the complete picture in front of our eyes. Various reasons for this we could not see through what was happening. We never understood what was going around because we never tried to. We were always so busy with our daily life activities and also blinded with the celebrity status these people had gained. Doubts never made it to our minds. The biggest being the media houses playing a war amongst themselves, and in this fight of who is supreme, truth was overtaken by gossip kind of news. And truthful content that used to come out once upon a time slowly started getting replaced with fabricated content. Number two, we never raised questions. I do not want to write anything here for this point because it was each one's mistake that we never raised our voice on the issues that were on hand, and we never even made an effort for it. We just carried on with the flow. Minaji, so that's it for today.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, Deepti, for joining us and always, enlightening us on this diary. And we are very grateful to you, the viewers, and ourselves, and wish you and family a very happy Diwali.
We should all be, extremely grateful to Sushant. It takes a
Yes,
lot of patience and I'm not, I mean, there have been, as he says, there have been people who have, done investigations and have sacrificed their life for it. Sri Deviji
yeah,
being one of them, I know for a fact,
yes,
but they haven't documented it.
yeah,
So what he says is that
absolutely.
every time someone wanted to, investigate it or expose it, they had to start from the beginning because no
Yes,
one had documented it. So that's why he
yes,
documented everything.
everything.
He is something. The more and more I am reading the drives, the respect and about for him is growing many folds, Minaji.
Absolutely. Also, Deepti, just a note to the viewers, many of you are asking whether Ekta Kapoor and Karan Johar are getting the Padma Shri. This is old news, okay? And this is they have already got the Padma Shri thanks to a certain minister. We understand is otherwise there's no way that these people with third-rate movies and series can ever get a Padma Shri. So somebody has helped them get it. But this is old news, and you can also understand that PR is just trying to bring it up to make you, feel that these people are justified for getting the Padma Shri.
It's an insult to that. I mean, the value of Padma Shri has come down.
Yeah.
If they
Also, another news, Deepti. See, I was just watching the videos, and there was a party at one of the directors, Bollywood directors' homes, and everybody from Salman Khan to all the people we know were there at the party. So now they are trying to regroup again because they know that people are against them and their movies are not selling. So they are trying their best to somehow come back
that
into
too,
limelight.
that too, and also Minaji, I don't say how, I don't know how true it is, but if what I have heard is true, then we saw all these actors in one cricket match in Dubai. I think everyone was there, like Akshay Kumar, Jacqueline, the whole bunch of them, right? Even Ankita Lokande and a lot of them.
Yeah.
So
Urvashi
I heard that because of this arrest of Aryan Khan and this thing, they went there to delete the Dubai link to clear the trail.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Because
if this is true,
Kabir had already reached almost that point.
Yeah. So I don't know how far it is true. I just heard them. But if it is true, then that means by the likes of Nawab Malik and others who raised baseless allegations and other things on Samir Wankresar and his family, they clearly created a distraction. They kept him distracted with other things when he could have focused on the interrogations and might have reached the Dubai by then.
In fact,
so and in the meantime, these people go and clear the trail.
This is exactly what I was asking Yasmin. Of course, being a lawyer, she can't answer that, but she said, you and the people have assessed the thing right. That's all she said, So which means that whatever analysis now you're giving also is true.
So this is how now we are getting aware how the games are being played, right? It's okay.
So now, friends, Suryavanshi is coming. Please boycott it. We do not need to give us hard-earned money for this. Kindly give it, for some worthy cause, or you go for a holiday and enjoy yourselves. But do not pay for tickets for even one Bollywood movie. They don't deserve it from you. Thank you, Deepti.
Okay,
and good night.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good night. And wish you a very, very happy Diwali once again. And happy Diwali to all your viewers too.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Yeah, good night.